think the world of you. Like, I don't fault you for anything, but I think ultimately I wanted you to be a little bit more honest.
It's hard because I'm hearing what you're saying, but you have directly contradicted what you're saying to him right now, recently.
What do I think about the reunion? I don't even know why Molly and Madison were there unless they're going to be part of Perfect Match. That's the only reason I could think of why they were on the show. Otherwise, there was no need to have them sit on the stage for that long and for them to be chiming in, looking for the storyline in everybody else's scenario. Do I agree? I don't like the way some of the girls threw the guys under the bus. And I also wish the guys had actually taken responsibility more for their actions. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. The Ollie and AD proposal, I don't know why we needed to see that, but that's just my opinion. Anyway, hey there, thanks for stopping by. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love is Blind, Season 8, Episode 14. I'm happy this season is coming to an end. It is about time. It deserves to come to an end. Anyway, so you have everyone come out. Personally, I don't understand why some of the people are on stage. I don't understand why Madison and Molly are there. I don't understand why Meg and Mason and Alex are there. They didn't need to be there. We only needed the 5 couples that they followed. The rest didn't need to come unless they didn't have enough drama, so they brought them out for that reason. Anyway, so everybody comes out. Taylor and Daniel are excited. They're happy. They're happily in love. They actually share kisses when they come out. And then Taylor makes a joke about, Daniel following her and unfollowing her, because this is something that came up and this was their only issue in their relationship. They showed us quite a lot of pictures. They took a lot of pictures. It seemed like they attended a lot of events together as a couple. It was really cute to see that they have continued to build on what they found in the pods, which is what I think everybody that goes into the experiment is looking for, is to find your person who is looking for the same things, who has the same values, morals, beliefs, and sort of take it and run with it. So I love that they were happy and they just focused on the two of them. We did get to see the tattoo. Daniel has a tattoo on his chest of Taylor's eyes. Well, to each their own. At least he didn't put a face, because it would be a bit orcs if things go wrong and then what do you do about the tattoo? Anyway, so the first couple Nick and Vanessa speak to is Devon and Virginia. And what do I think? I didn't like it. I didn't like that conversation. It left me feeling some type of way, and it left me side-eyeing Virginia. Hear me out. So Virginia is saying that, she was asked by Nick, which is a question that I had in my previous review, that if this man signed the prenup, if the prenup was the main issue, why then did, she say no? And so for her to say there were a lot of things that came up, apparently she saw a letter from his ex-girlfriend, and he says, this girl was my friend in high school. Her boyfriend, her current partner, was one of my groomsmen, so we're still friends. We behave as friends, we move about as friends, and so there was nothing there to imply that there's a romantic relationship. Virginia then brought up the letter and he debunked it and said the letter is not romantic at all, so I don't get where she's coming from. Virginia then decided to say, I don't know his values or his beliefs, but I want to tell everybody about my beliefs. This is what was grinding my nerves with Sarah, and Virginia started to do the same. And yes, you don't like this man. Yes, things didn't work out, but there's no need for you to put him on Front Street, because by putting him on Front Street, you're opening the door to trolls to troll him. Because for her to say, I believe everybody deserves to be respected. I believe women have the right to do what they want. There was no need for all of that. For her to say my family was very, very diverse. I have Muslim people. So what are you trying to say? Are you saying that, he's Islamophobic or he's homophobic? What exactly are you trying to say? I can't tell you about his beliefs, but I can tell you about mine. Well, in telling us about yours, you're outing him to say he believes other. And Nick was right to say, but if this was the case, why then did we get to where we got? And I asked this here in my other review, I'll ask this again. Did Virginia really agree to the proposal because she liked this man, or did she agree to the proposal because she wanted to be on TV? She spoke about the fact that his mom's boss gave him £1,000 and he didn't come up with the check. He says he held onto the check because he wanted to make sure that, she they were married before he brought out the check. She is the one who came up with the prenup and said, your share is your share, my share is my share. So what has the check got to do with her? That's not a big deal. If her friends and family gave her money for the wedding, that's her bet. They agreed that they would both come into the marriage, and then whatever they brought, they would walk out with. So if he wants to keep the £1,000 check, that's fine. She bought him a present. She went downstairs to pick it up. She couldn't manage. She got him to go out down with her, and he said, but you could have picked it up. It was, to me, it looked like, this is what I'm going to say, Devon has his faults. Don't get me wrong. But I think it looked like Virginia was throwing mud at the wall to see what would stick. She kept looking for an excuse to sort of turn people against this man. And then she said, oh, I tried to contact him. He wouldn't pick up my calls. And then she had the cheer squad. I don't even know why they're there, Madison and Molly, because they said, oh, no, you came up to us and you told us your business. And it's like, nah, don't. Please don't do that. Please mind your own business. You know why you're here. Mind that. It came across to me as though Madison and Molly were looking for a moment. They wanted to be a part of the conversation because they know that their relationship doesn't amount to much. So I don't know why they chimed in. Yes, Devon was wrong to say they were drunk, and when they asked him, and it wasn't their business for him to sort of disclose and whatever, he was wrong for that. But they were wrong for involving themselves in other people's relationship. Devon said, this relationship didn't work out. I speak highly of this woman, and I think, I don't think the worst of her. I wish if this is who Virginia was trying to be, she should have been the bigger person and said, there are things that came up in this marriage. Sadly, it didn't work out. We didn't align on a lot of things, and the more we stayed together, the worse things became. And this is why I couldn't say yes on wedding day, and left it at that, because otherwise it's not a good look. Having her little minions sort of speak up doesn't make sense. How did I miss this Love is Blind most memorable moments survey? Anyway, it's revealed that the viewers had the opportunity to vote, and there's these top 5 moments that are going to be revealed. Number 5, we have the Megan Fox incident between Jimmy and Chelsea. What do I think? That's still cringe. That is still cringe. Even the people watching it at this moment are still cringed by it, because you can see the excitement on Jimmy's face at the idea that he's hooking up with Megyn Kelly, and you can see the embarrassment on Chelsea's face because she realizes that she's about to be caught out in her lie. So I don't get it. I really don't understand why it's in the top 5, but hey, it is what it is. You have Ben and Sarah. They are the next couple. You have them sort of having this conversation. First off, they discuss Ben and, the TikTok incident. And then you have Nick and Vanessa sort of ask Sarah that, how did you feel about that incident? Sarah reveals that, she was naive, or she tried to believe Ben because, this is the person she was in a relationship with, she was building a relationship with, so she wanted to be in an honest space with him, so she believed what he told her and stood by it. But then now, over the years, she's realized that there could have been truth to it. Sarah reveals that when we left, after the wedding, we agreed that we'll be moving together. I would drive down and then he would follow me, and then we would stay together for at least 2 months. He works remotely. I still had a contract. She's a travel nurse, it seems. So she was still going to complete sort of her contract while he's living with her. But then she says she drove down, and when she got there, Ben apparently turned off his Find My Phone. Ben, on his part, says, he was connected to her Find My Phone because he wanted to make sure that she got to where she was going safely. And once she got there, he turned it off. According to Ben, his feeling is that they were broken up once she left. On her part, Sarah is saying, no, we were not broken up. We were going to move in together. And it's like, I'm getting a bit of whiplash. I am getting a bit of whiplash because if I remember very well, after the wedding, after the no, she said, take me away. I don't want anything to do with this man. Ben asked her if she wanted them to continue, and she said no. So the idea that she said no in front of the cameras and then is telling us that in private she said, let's continue, I'm not buying it. You have Sarah's sister, Lisa, and Kelsey, her partner there. And so for me, for them to pretend like they didn't hear her say, I'm done with this man, I don't want anything to do with him, doesn't make sense. Because in episode 13, after she walked out of the wedding, we heard her say she was done, take me away, I want to leave. And then she was talking to her family members and saying, I don't understand what he means by I want to continue seeing you, because for me, it's done, it's over and done with. And I understand she's actually dating one of the guys from the pod squad. So I don't get why she's aggrieved. I don't get why she's that upset. If she felt, her values and these values didn't align, why would you want to continue to see that person? What makes you think he's going to change? I recognize that Ben, on his part, acknowledges that, he was naive to things that are happening in the world because he's been coming from a place of privilege. These things haven't affected him in any way. And it took him being with Sarah for him to realize that, I actually need to look around me and see what's going on in the world. And unless something affects you personally, some people are always there to mind their own business and they don't involve themselves in things that have nothing to do with them. I don't think it was such a big deal. I don't even know why Sarah was making a big deal over a relationship that she told us after the altar was over. We watched it. She said it was over. So I don't get why she's coming to the reunion and changing her tune and saying, oh no, we were still together. We agreed that we'd continue seeing each other and then we'd move back and then would sort of, once my contract ended, and see what we wanted to do. Next up is Monica and Joey. For the first time, I think I'm going to lean on one of the bride side. I have to stick with Monica because as much as I don't agree with Monica's sister, I think Monica is a victim of circumstances, in the sense that she was in this triangle where she had her sister on one angle and she had Joey on the other angle, and she was just standing there. And sadly, for some reason, she wasn't able to sort of stand up on her own 2 feet and tell the two of them what she wanted. Because she talks about watching the show and how she struggled watching the show, realizing that this man really wasn't romantically into her. As much as she tried, he really wasn't getting there with her. And so this was painful for her. You have Joey's sisters, they're sort of looking, they are disapproving in some situations. They know their brother best. Joey, on his part, actually said that he couldn't romantically get there. He decides to speak up, and he says the reason he couldn't get there was because of the fact that, Monica's sister didn't like him. I said this before, I'll say this again. Monica's sister, I get jealousy vibes in the sense that she wants to be the center of attention. And when she's not the center of attention, she throws a fit. Yes, maybe Joey is used to people liking him wherever he goes. So for the first time, he's come across someone who doesn't like him on site. And so it's a struggle for him to sort of understand that, which is wrong because as long as his partner loves him, yes, it is important that he gets along with family. He said family is important to him, but Monica had other family members. He really didn't need to focus on the sister. I said it before, I'll say it again. I think Joey got the ick, and instead of being honest with Monica and telling her that I got the ick, he decided to continue. Or maybe he wasn't physically attracted to her, so he decided to continue. Monica talks about the fact that apparently after the group meetup where they went and they were sort of going down the slope on the Chubby thing is, Joey slid into people's DMs, into someone's DM. Joey reveals that he slid into a couple of people's DMs after that night. It then comes out that Madison was the person that he slid into her DM. Madison, for me, comes across as master manipulator. I don't know why they have her at the reunion, whether they're trying to get her on Perfect Match or what exactly is going on there. I don't get it. Because for Madison to sort of say that, yes, he did reach out to me. He says he didn't say anything romantic. Madison can't pinpoint anything romantic that you said to her. She said all he said was, he liked my pink hair. Joey, on his part, said all I talked about was her pink hair. But then Monica reveals that Joey said, Madison had been making a pass at him. Do I think that's true? Part of me wants to believe it. Why? I think Madison was trying to get back on the show for the reunion, and in order for that to happen, she needed to have storylines. Because you even have Molly chime in and say, yes, I also heard about this. And it's like, if Joey made a wrong allegation about Madison, yes, that's wrong. But at the same time, given the way Madison manipulated the guys in her life, the way she manipulated Alex, the way she manipulated Mason, I don't buy it. I really don't buy it. I think there's some truth to the fact that she might have made a pass at this man in order to be on the show. The fact that she tries to make it seem like, oh, I'm so stunning, I'm so beautiful. Why would I come after you? It's like, nah, please be for real. Please be for real. Your track record on the show shows that, anything is possible with Madison. She could have led this man on and given him the idea that, he stood a chance. And then suddenly when she realized that, oh, it's about to get her in trouble, then she decided to take a step back. I don't get why they've been sat next to each other with Molly and why they're cheering and sort of trying to be at the center of everybody's storyline. Whether it's because they want clout after their reunion, I don't know. So number 4 most memorable moment is Gareth and Taylor, Geek Squad, his glow up. He really did glow up. Gareth looked totally different. Apparently he was in a fashion show. Initially when they met, they sort of aligned on their level of high level of intelligence, their love for science. And so to see that they got the recognition as the number 4th, most memorable moments, I love that for them. I really do. We then have Lauren and Dave. Lauren and Dave, for me, are a bit of I don't know how I feel. Because at the end of the day, I always felt like Lauren, it was a competition between her and Molly. And Lauren really wanted to win the guy and be on TV. That's the impression that I got. We later found out that before she entered the pod, she had had a hookup with a random guy. And this guy was really trying his best to be the moment and sort of to come on the show and be a storyline. And so to find out that now that the show is out, he still was making a lot of effort to be sort of a part of the storyline, and Dave was able to see him for who he is, that he wasn't serious about the allegations that he was making. And sadly for Lauren, this guy knew Dave's friends and so went behind Lauren's or Dave's back and was sort of feeding information that made it seem as there was more to this relationship than actually was realistic. I know Dave, there was the issue that his sister was very hesitant about him being on the show, and her worries were that he'd get a bad edit and then, this might sort of affect him for the rest of his life. I always questioned why the sister had so much control over his life, why as a grown man he couldn't make his own decisions. He owns up to the fact that, he lacked emotional intelligence and that he had a lot of growing to do. Lauren, on her part, sort of is happy that, he acknowledges that it was all lies that the other guy was feeding the show. And so what do I think? Do I think they would have worked? No, I don't think so. As I said before, Dave wasn't as into Lauren as she was into him. And sadly, because of the love triangle with Molly, I don't think he ever got over Molly. What do I think? I think the reason why Dave ended up proposing to Lauren was because she made him feel valued. She made him feel wanted. She made him feel appreciated. And with Molly, he wasn't so sure. And because Molly didn't have any dating experience, I think this is why he decided to go for this woman. I think on sight, as I said before, he got the ick because there was something about her that put Dave off Lauren, and he never recovered. And finding out about the other guy just made things worse for him. And so whether it's because she was so keen to discuss SCX on camera and talking about she had, a mani-pedi in preparation but needed to wait for a day or two, I think that's what put him off, and then he never seemed to recover. Whether he thought that this is who she is, and finding out that she hooked up with someone just before the show, I think didn't help situations given whatever happened on the honeymoon. With Lauren, she's adamant that on the honeymoon they were getting along very well. They thought they had the strongest bond, and so she was surprised when things didn't work. What do I think? I don't think they were right for one another. I don't think so. I think the issue with his sister was a big red flag. Yes, apparently his sister is worried about him, and he sort of feels sad that, Lauren was upset about everything after watching the show. But I think Dave should have resolved his family issues first before coming on the show. I like that he said a lot of people need to learn from this. People need to learn. They need to look into the background and sort of ask themselves, am I in the right space to be on this show, or do I need to stay at home and do some work? And I think had Dave done the work, he would have been in a position to find his person. Do I think his person was Lauren? No. Molly reveals that, Dave always told her that she was his number one, so she's surprised that this is not how things turned out. I think that is something that will always sort of haunt Dave, because maybe he should have gone with Molly. Molly now says, oh, after watching everything that's happened, I don't feel like we were the right person for each other. I still am in this space where I don't think I'm ready for a relationship. Because she's asked, have you been in a relationship? No, I don't think I like men at the moment. I haven't really liked men all year. And so she's asked, are you open to the opposite sex? And she sort of says, I'll never say never. And it's like Molly has a lot of growing, just like Dave. And I think this is one of the things that they aligned on, that they still had a lot of growing that they needed to do. They lack the emotional intelligence to cope with a relationship, and I don't think either one of them is ready at the moment. Number 3 slot is Laura and Jeremy. When Jeremy went on a date with one of the ex-pod girls, I've even forgotten her name. She wasn't memorable. His second connection, and he was being grilled for that. Do I think it should be number 3? I think there were other more memorable moments from the show. If we're looking at 8 seasons, some of these seasons don't make sense unless people are just remembering most recent shows. That's all I could think of. Anyway, we have Meg and Mason. Meg and Mason, apparently they did date and realized that they weren't each other's person, so they broke up, but they remained friends. We see their reveal when they first saw one another in their reveal outfits, which was really cute, and I love that for them. And they say they've developed this friendship that they really appreciate. They're very supportive of one another, and this is the best thing that they could have walked away with from the show. They understand Taylor and Daniel got what they came in for, but they are happy that they left together and they have this amazing friendship. It then comes into, Madison being brought in and Alex being brought in. What do I think? I think the guys are right. I said this at the start that Madison came in with issues. She said there was a time when she was growing up where she wanted her family to choose her parents to choose her. But because of substance abuse, they couldn't pick her. She felt like they let her down. And you can see that when she was in the pods, she was behaving. Her behaviors were tailored to make herself appealing to the guy that she was on the date with. And yet, apparently, she's gone on an interview and said that Mason was manipulative to her. I don't get it. I love that she was tag teamed on because she needed to be outed. And then she brings out these text messages. Do I buy it? No. She could have saved anybody's number. And had them sort of text back and forth. And why didn't she give the text messages to the producers and have them screenshot instead of her printing them out and then reading them out to everyone and only reading the convenient ones? I think she realized that she was going to be the enemy in that situation, in that love square. And so she's decided to paint everybody in a negative light. And then when Meg spoke up for Alex, why are you speaking up for Alex? He says some of the nastiest things behind your back. This is the same problem that Madison had with Alex, because Alex stuck up for Mason and Madison didn't like it. And so she kicked off that, why are you supporting someone that is not, or is saying negative things about me, or is upsetting me? And here we are, day number 2, same scenario. And it's like, the problem is not the other 3 people in this square. The problem is Madison. And sadly, Madison lacks self-awareness enough to realize that she needs to go to therapy. She needs to work on the baggage she came into the show with in order for her to find her person, because she's going to continue in the vicious cycle. She's going to continue to try and sort of make herself appealing to everybody she comes across. You could tell that everybody saw through her. Whether she expected the messages to have some sort of negative impact, I don't get it. He did this emoji, he did that. Well, to each their own. I'm surprised. Am I the only one who's surprised? Because the most memorable moment, number 2, is Lauren and Cameron. And I would have expected them to be number 1, given the large fan base that they have. They've been married for 5 years and they seem to be doing very well. So I'm pleasantly surprised that they were number 2. I've never watched their season. I will be honest, I started watching from season 2. Maybe at some point, one day I will watch season 1, but I tried to watch it and it was just a bit boring for me, so I stopped. So I love that for them. Nick and Vanessa then speak to Taylor and Daniel about Christmas and how it's been celebrating their first Christmas given their love for Christmas. And they speak about the fact that they really do love Christmas and their families love Christmas. So this was a no-brainer for them. But sadly, his mum has struggled with leukemia. So it's been a bit of a challenging time. But because they're married, Taylor's brother was able to sort of provide accommodation for Daniel's dad while while his mom was in hospital, which made it easier. And apparently her brother works as an administrator at the same hospital, which must have really helped. I think Taylor, if I'm not mistaken, was it Meg who was the oncology nurse? I don't remember what Taylor did for a living, but it was nice that they seem to have been focused on family and coming together as families, which I really loved for them. I really loved it. I thought that was amazing because at the end of the day, you're looking for a life partner. You want them to get along with your family, which is good. We get to see Jimmy and Jessica apparently were number one. I don't buy it. I really don't buy it. Of all the most memorable moments, the arena and what was her name? Micah situation, the love triangles, the love squares, everything. We are saying this is the most memorable moment. No, I don't buy it. I think production really loved Jessica, so they wanted her to feature, but there's no need for them to sort of make up that she was number one or her moment was number one with Jimmy. I'm not buying it, so hey. You then have Ollie and AD. AD, for me, I didn't buy her coming on the show from day one. I thought she came for clout and she managed to get herself tied to someone and they rode it for as long as they could. Apparently, they were promoting Perfect Match. And then through their promotion of Perfect Match, you have Ollie propose. Given how Ollie treated Demi on his show, I really want to believe that he's in love with, AD, but only time will tell. Only time will tell because the two of them both seem fame hungry. Apparently, they met on Perfect Match and they really aligned on a lot of things. I root for love, so whatever happens, I'm happy for them. So we then find out that the next season is going to be in Denver. We have, people from Denver sort of promoting the show coming to Denver. I love love, and so I'm happy that it is going to another season. So I can't wait to review season 9. We then find all the couples are shown sort of celebrating their marriages and sort of saying happy anniversary. I'm pleasantly surprised that Lauren and Cameron didn't appear to celebrate 5-year anniversary of the show that introduced them to one another. You might not like the storyline, but at the end of the day, these people introduced you to one another. So I would have loved for them as one of the sort of trendsetters for the show to have appeared. I know Amber and her husband don't like the show, so they were never going to appear, but hey, to each their own. So we get to see the couples from the show that are still married. We see Kwame and Chelsea. We see Lydia and Milton. We see the Browns, Tiffany and Brett. I love that for them. We also get to see Gareth and Taylor, Alexa and Brennan. And we have, oh my God, Amy and her husband. I've forgotten her husband's name. And then we get to see Bliss and Zach. Bliss and Zach are going to keep their child private. They're going to keep their child away from cameras. I'm surprised they've been able to keep her face away from cameras for so long, but I don't think anyone wants to mess with Zach because Zach is a lawyer and, he might sue you. So, hey, to each their own. I root for love. And I'm sad that it seems Love is Blind is having more of a higher success rate than Married at First Sight. I wish Married at First Sight could up their game on who they're casting. It seems, yes, the guys this season were controversial, but they were not as bad as last season. We have to give them that. I can't wait to see what happens on season 9. Thanks, guys, for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 13. Bye, guys.